All right, muscle heads, I am Trey Wires, and today I'm going to show you how to wire automotive fuses, how fuses work, and how to pick the right size fuse for your car. Let's go. There are three types of main fuses, right? You got your blade fuse, your glass fuse, and your mega fuse. This is a blade fuse, okay? It's kind of shaped like a tooth. The amperage is always on the top of this fuse. Now there are four different versions of this. It's like a large one. This is the standard one, a mini, and then like a micro. This is extra small. Next up, you got your glass fuse, okay? This is a glass fuse. Some people call it a tube fuse. The amps, it's hard to see, but it's writing right here on the side to tell you what size amp this fuse is right here. Next up is a mega fuse. This is a mega fuse. You can tell the fuse size right here because see, it says 150 amps. It's a big size fuse, right? And they usually use these in starters. I know what y'all saying. Well, Trey, how do we hook up the fuse? Relax, I'm gonna show you. So you can hook up this fuse a few different ways. Let's start with the blade style standard fuse, okay? This is a modern day fuse box. You would stick the fuse in here like this. This is what you would find in your modern day cars right here. It holds all the fuses. The wires connect out here. They put a power in the ground, a ground on this side, a power on this side, and then this would be your modern day fuse box style. Now these comes in different sizes and shapes, but generally this is what it looks like. It has a cover over there, and it usually has some words showing you exactly what each fuse goes to. Like one fuse may say AC, another fuse may say lights, another fuse may say ignition, all that, right? You could detach it, take it out. This is a fuse box that goes to my 1968 Camaro. You see it has the names of all the components, wiper, heater, radio. So let's say my windshield wiper stopped working. First thing I would do is go over here, pull the fuse out, check the fuse, see if I blew a fuse. Right here it has the amps. It tells you how many amps the fuse has to be for these components, the draw on the component. Put your fuse in there like so. Push it down, pop it in, it pops right in place. Now, all of these fuses are not the same size. This fuse right here is not going to fit in there. This is a smaller fuse. See right here, you would need a smaller fuse. Some of these fuses are 20 millimeters, some are 10 millimeters. You basically got to pull it and then see what size your fuse is. Because this fuse won't fit right here, down here at the bottom. Now, you don't have to have a fuse box. You can use an inline fuse. This is what you call an inline fuse holder right here. It looks just like this. This is one for the blade style fuses. They come like this, but you snap the wire, strip the ends just like this. You will strip the ends down just like this, and then you will hook it up to your components. You will put the fuse in here. So you can see this is a what size fuse? A 40 amp fuse. It goes right inside here. Boom. So you don't need a fuse box to wire up something to a fuse. You could use an inline fuse. For the glass fuse, they have the same thing. This is a little bit more rare, but the same thing. You just untwist this, and it's a fuse right inside of there. You put your fuse in there, put it on the other side, boom, twist it up. Just like that. And that's the inline fuse. You connect one end to where you want to go, the other end to where you want to go, and you got the same fuse that you would put in one of these fuse boxes, but it's in an inline fuse. They literally call it inline. Why? Because the fuse is inline. You guessed it. You guys are so smart. All right. Last but not least, we got this mega fuse, right? I know what y'all thinking. Well, Trey, what does the mega fuse go? Slow down, okay? Slow down. Let me find my mega fuse holder. So right here, we have a mega fuse holder. Basically, it goes just like this. You put one end right here, slide this over, and then you take your wires and you put your wires on this end and you screw it down. And you take a little Allen wrench, boom, 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 boom. You twist this and it'll lock in. So it's four main reasons why we use fuses, okay? Fuses protect against your wires. Too much electricity passes through here, it won't burn your wire up, it'll just pop the fuse. It'll literally pop the fuse in the inside. You have to unscrew this, put a new fuse in, or go to your fuse box, check your fuse, whichever one you did. If you did an inline fuse, it'll be this. If the fuse is tapped from the box, you will go to your fuse box and check your fuse box. All right, now the next up is to protect switches. This is a switch. This goes to whatever component or gadget you got it hooked up to. Each one of these switches has a certain amount of electricity, amps of electricity that can pass through it. On this one, you see where it says 10 amps? 10 amps. So that means anything after 10 amps in this switch is more than likely going to burn up. If I send 50 amps of electricity on here, it'll burn up. 20 amps, it'll burn up. So if I was going to fuse it, instead of using 10, I would get as close to 10 as I can, which I would probably fuse at an 8. I'll probably use a size 8 fuse so that way I don't burn this switch up. Okay. Next up is it protects your gadgets or your components. This will be your gadget, a light, electric fan, an alternator, headlights, anything like that is your gadget. If too many amps of electricity pass through these wires, it will blow your gadget / component. And last but not least, it protects against fires. Fuses, I'm gonna say it again, protects against fires. If you don't properly fuse, you risk the chance of burning your car down. If too much electricity passes through this wire, right? This wire probably can only hold about 10 amps of electricity. If you send 100 amps of electricity through this wire will burn up. If this wire is inside of your car and it touches any type of insulation, any kind of cloth, any type of carpet, it will set your car on fire. And that is what we don't want. But if you have a fuse, when too many amps go through that wire, it's going to pop the fuse and it won't burn your wire up. So protects the wires, protects the switches, protects the gadgets, and protects against fires. Now let's go wire up some fuses. Quick side note, if you don't know the capacity of amps that can go through your gauge wire, I put a link in the description with a sheet that tells you exactly the gauge wire and the amp requirements and limitations of that wire. Click on it. It's very helpful. It'll save you some time. I'm going to teach you how to calculate the amps. Let's say you open up the package. It doesn't have how many amps this light bulb is, but it has how many watts. Amps equals watts divided by volts. So let's say we open it up, the package, and it's a 60 watt bulb, okay? A car runs off a 12-volt battery. Fully charged is gonna be at 12.6, but it can range anywhere from 12.6, 12.8. So we're just gonna round up and say the volts from your battery is 13 volts, okay? That's how much you get from your battery. 13 volts divided by 60 watts is gonna give you your amps. So let's do the math. 60 watts divided by 13 volts equals 4.6 amps. We can round up and say it has a 5 amp draw. So we would need to create a fuse for 5 amps. Let's do it. So the light bulb is 5 amps. Our switch is 10 amps, right? Because this light bulb means it has a 5 amp draw. That means it's going to draw 5 amps of electricity through our power wire. So then we're going to use a 10 amp switch because we know 10 amps can handle 5 amps. So basically this is a max. So let's say if this number was 25 amps, we couldn't use a 10 amp switch because this 25 amp draw, if this was 25 amp draw on this light bulb, it will burn up this switch. Then over here, we're going to use a 7.5 amp fuse. Now you're probably saying, well, why are we using a 5 amp fuse if the light is 5 amps? Because if you use a 5 amp fuse, you will pop the fuse just by cutting the bulb on. That's not the goal. The goal is if it gets above 5 amps to pop it, right? So we know we will go next up to 7.5 fuse. Now you can go a 8 fuse, a 10 fuse, but I would stay under a 10 fuse because you have a switch that's 10 amps and you want to also protect it. So you want to protect the light, you want to protect the wire, and you want to protect your switch. So you want to stay above this number right here, but below this number right here on your switch. This is very important. Listen to me now. This is very important. You want to always make sure you fuse on the power side. Okay, you want to fuse on the power side. The reason why you want to fuse on the power side, you want to pop this fuse before it even makes it to your component or your switch. Because I can take this fuse and put it right here, but that means we go catch fire. If this wire shorts out right here, it's going to catch fire and then it's going to burn this switch up before it pops this fuse. You want the fuse to get popped next to the battery. You ground over here. You can ground straight from the battery. You can ground from your chassis, your frame, or wherever you ground from, but you got to fuse on the battery side. All right, so we got our inline fuse right here, which is an 8 amp fuse. When we hit this switch, boom, the light should cut on, and it did. We got our ground running over here. Remember, your ground could be your straight to the battery like we did, or it could be the frame or the chassis of the car. We got our power cord running right here, hooked up to the battery. Once you hit the switch, boom. Always remember to fuse on the battery side. You don't want to fuse right here. You want to fuse on the battery side. We used the inline right here, but we could have easily tapped into this fuse box right here. We could have hooked the ground up and the power up right here and then ran it straight to this component tapped straight from this fuse box. But just for the demonstration, we used the inline because it was quicker. Just to show y'all what it's like when the fuse pops, we go pop one, okay? You see that? See that little piece in the middle that's connected? That's gonna pop. I'm gonna hook my power up right here with an alligator clip. I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna hook the alligator clip up on the other side. I'm gonna hold this. I'm holding on the rubber now. You don't want to get shot. I'm gonna take this and connect it to the ground side of my battery. This is a 750 amp battery, so it's gonna send 750 amps through this fuse and it should pop. And it's gonna spark when I start putting it on there. You should see it on the right hand side. See it pop? If we didn't have it fused and I connected that battery to this wire, it would have disintegrated this wire. This wire would have burned up like that ASAP. And that is why fuses are important. And that, my friends, is how you wire up a fuse. I am Trey Wires. I'll see y'all next video. If you have any suggestions that make things better, or any comments on the video, or any questions, I do my best to answer all of them. Leave a comment below. Peace. I'll see y'all next video.